Hi, Brian. How you doing?
I am well. How are you?
You're in the middle of teaching a class, right?
I am. Yeah, we've got a fairly large 19 student Oracle Exadata workshop that we're working through over these 4 days.
This is Oracle University.
It is Oracle University, yes.
What are the types of people that you have there? Are they DBAs or who have you got?
The majority of them are database administrators. There's two system administrators, and believe it or not, this is the second time that I've seen this happen, Rick. But this company also brought in one of their legacy storage engineers as well. So the storage group has an understanding of this intelligent storage in Exadata.
And so, what is the class? What are you focusing on?
The workshop is kind of interesting, and where one of my first questions when I introduce myself is, do I have system admins? Do I have DBAs? Because the workshop is actually written across both group areas. We spend the first 2 days in storage, and then the last 2 days up on the database.
What is the typical question you get from a DBA or a sysadmin who's new to the Exadata?
Well, one of the more interesting questions that I get that we have to really slow down and take some time answering is what makes Exadata Exadata? Why do I not have the ability to go out and buy, parts from a multitude of different vendors and just, glue them all together and come up with the same solution?
And what do you tell them?
Well, we look at the whole concept of an engineered system. This has been architected by Oracle and their subject matter experts to give us the absolute best performance. But we also have to talk about, some of Oracle's value that they bring to the proposal. Things like hybrid columnar compression, smart scanning, predicate offloading. These are software pieces that are running on the self-serve instance on each of those storage nodes. We call them cell nodes down there on Exadata, that you can't go out to another vendor because that's IP, that's intellectual property that Oracle's R&D has come up with, and that's the piece that you can't go out and buy from somebody else.
Now, I work for Oracle, and I'm always skeptical. I always assume, well, yeah, you guys are just telling me that because it sounds good. These guys, I imagine, are even more skeptical. How do you convince them that this is actually a real value add?
Well, it's kind of neat, actually. In the second day of the delivery, we walk them through some database explain plans, and then we walk them through some $V views, and we can actually show them if we've got a poorly formed SQL statement that would prevent smart scanning from working. We can actually show you how much of the space as measured in megabytes that was eligible to be offloaded to smart scan and how much of it was not. So I can show you in real numbers that this was eligible, this is what was returned, or because of a poorly formed SQL query that we completely bypassed smart scan altogether, and this was the cost associated with it. And that really opens up some eyes. You can really see the class accept the fact that this is more than just a sales speech, because we show them in the classroom in real numbers the actual performance.
And once they've accepted that this is for real, what are their primary concerns about adopting it?
Well, concerns, I would think that from the database admin's perspective, it is always going to relate to migrating our databases. I mean, when we look at the title of Exadata, it's an Exadata database machine, and a lot of the companies that I interact with use it primarily as a consolidation method. And their question is, Brian, which are the modalities available to me? Do I use Golden Gate? Do I use DataGuard? Do I use Data Pump? That was part of our lectures. We were going through some of the various methods in which we can migrate our older databases into Exadata based upon things like infrastructure. Is it a big Indian or a little Indian server? Am I already running on 11G R2, or am I migrating from an earlier version, Spark to x86? So what we have to look at, ASM, AU sizes, there's a number of areas that we've got to give some consideration to We talk about AWR reports and whether or not the database to be migrated can actually fit on Exadata. So there's a number of steps out there that we need to consider. And again, given the importance of Exadata as a consolidation platform, it's one that I try to slow down my delivery a bit to make sure that the students understand a number of options available to them.
You've got database admins, sysadmins, and a storage engineer. Is there a reason why they would have one of these guys manage a system versus having another one?
I have seen, Rick, in my experience, there's a couple of different methods. Some groups, some companies will mark this as a pure DBA realm. So I then see the database administrators coming in and attending operating system courses, either Linux or Solaris. They assume the entire role. I've seen others to the extreme that we're in now, where they're bringing in both database admins, system admins, and the storage admins, and what ends up happening is the cell nodes, the storage nodes, the database administrators, they pretty much stay away from. I think that the system administrators need to stay in the solution. I can appreciate the DBAs wanting to, at times, take over the entire solution, but if I am the CTO, the CIO, the CFO, and I'm paying those salaries, I'd much rather want my specialized groups working in their specialized areas.
Brian, just in case people are curious, would you remind everyone who you are and what you do?
Okay, sure. So, Brian Bream, I am the Chief Technology Officer for Collier IT. We're a Oracle Platinum partner based out of Minneapolis, and I am also a delivering instructor for Oracle University, as well as the Oracle Partner Network delivering their boot camps.
And I'm Rick Ramsey from the Oracle Technology Network. Brian, it was a pleasure, and I'll try to reach you next week or the week after.